Hey, friends and family, and then, of course, you strangers out there. For those of you who don't know me, I am Erin, and this is Hell with Erin, or my health expedition log. It's just hell with one L because that's how acronyms work, and apparently that's my tagline, so saying it. Long time no see, hey! That's what people say, right? I have started this YouTube channel for a couple of different reasons. The biggest reason, to inform everybody who loves me and cares about me all in one place so that I don't have to continue to repeat myself. If you're watching this and you're one of those people, thank you for watching. If you're watching this and you're not one of those people, thank you for watching. If you have not yet hit that subscribe button, please do so now. Go ahead and smash that like button. Also, if you've watched any of my past videos, you know that I have a podcast. Sharing is Scaring podcast. I am currently working on season 2. For those of you who follow along, my co-host is no longer with me, so it will be me joined by multiple different friends. I'll be having lots of different people on with me to talk about spooky topics, and it will be fun, but I am taking my time because the reason why I'm here, I'm sick. All right, so I'm going to start this video out a little bit differently. There's some things that have been weighing on my mind. If you are not aware, there are chapters. I make sure that I set chapters thanks to my producer, Mallory. Love her. Look at her. Look at her. She's so cute. She recommended that I start doing chapters a while back. So we've been working on getting chapters on all the videos. I don't think that we've done that yet, but this video will definitely have chapters. And if you need to skip around or skip some sections, that's totally fine. If you're here for the ride, strap in. I almost said strap on, and I'm really glad that I didn't, but now I have, so. Hey, Mom. So to start out, this video is going to be an update basically from the time of my last video till now. I am having some memory issues, so if I repeat things from previous videos, oops. To get started with this video, I wanted to talk about something that I've struggled with my whole life, and over the past several years, I've been trying to implement through therapy and just trying, and that is boundaries. I've never been someone who is good at setting boundaries, and if this recent hospital visit has taught me anything, it is that I need to do better at advocating for myself in that way. And yes, I said recent hospital visit, because for those of you who may not know, I was hospitalized again. If you've watched all of these videos, you've probably noticed in my intros, or at least most of my intros, that I always had a line that explained why I started these videos, and the first part of that is always to update everyone in one place so that I don't have to repeat myself over and over again. Wow, Erin, what a great idea. That's so smart to do that. That's fantastic. You set that boundary, but then you didn't keep it, Erin. You didn't keep that boundary. Somehow along this journey of starting this health expedition log, I forgot about that boundary, and I found myself repeating all of the information I already talked about in all of the videos that I've already made to multiple people, which can be a lot. As a people pleaser and an open book, this was something that I was doing without realizing it, and I didn't realize that I was causing harm to myself in doing so, because it just feels natural for me to just talk about myself. I am not good at setting those boundaries. Like if I'm in a conversation with somebody and they ask me a question about my health that I've already covered in a video, I don't know how to go about saying, Oh, I actually covered that in an episode of Hell. Maybe you could just go watch this video. Instead, I find myself people pleasing and I'm like, they want to know. Don't make them go watch something, just communicate with them, which breaks down all of those boundaries that I set for myself in the first place and is not great. But, you know, again, I like talking about myself because like, I mean, you know, did I mention in this video that I love attention? Because I think that was actually reason number 2 and I think I left that out of the beginning of this one. I like attention. That's why I'm on video. I know several people who care about me have tried to watch these videos but couldn't get through them because they were either too long or maybe you don't have the attention span for it. Maybe you just don't have the time for it. Whatever it is, that's totally fine. But that is where the YouTube chapters come in handy. If you don't want all this fluff, and you are just genuinely curious how I'm doing, I have created a new chapter that I will be implementing for every single video moving forward, and that will be referred to as the Brief Health Summary chapter. Any videos moving forward that you would like just a quick update, find the Brief Health Summary, and Bob's your uncle. Or Bob's your father, like my dad, Bobby. Bobby's my father. Welcome to my brief health summary. Physically, how am I doing? I am getting stronger every day. I can now walk again on my own, but only short distances as I get super worn down pretty easily. Some days are better than others. My skin is still numb, but the weakness in my legs is subsiding. I struggle with nerve pain daily, mostly in my hands and wrists and legs, and my brain fog is getting slightly better, but my short-term memory is no bueno. Shit's been a blur. Mentally, how am I doing? Mentally, I am not okay. That is something that no one can fix but me. So please don't feel the need to reach out to me and tell me that, you know, I'm here if you need to talk or anything. Like, I get that. I understand. I am very fortunate to have so many wonderful people in my life who have, you know, reached out and said, if you need to talk, like, I'm here, like, you know, I'm here for you, and whatever. But I've kind of reached that point where I know I have all of you in my corner, but this is a professional. This is a professional's job. Like, this mess right here, professional help needed. And I'm taking care of it. I have booked my first session with a new therapist and I feel good about it. And I'm on my way to mentally healing. That is the end of my brief health summary. So stick around if you're ready for tea time, where I will share all the juicy details of what's been going on. It's not that juicy. I'm sorry to set you up for disappointment. All right, now it's time to rewind. Funny enough, I actually recorded a different hell video that I will not be sharing with anybody. I don't think I can watch it, to be honest with you. And the reason being is because the day that I recorded it was the same day as my most recent incident. I recorded a video for Hell that morning. I was feeling really good. I was having a wonderful morning. My energy levels were great. I was updating you guys on how wonderful I was doing and how happy I was about my success. And then I took Mr. Bones out for a walk that afternoon. Yes, on my own. And then we came back inside. And when we got inside, I was feeling a little bit lightheaded almost. Like I was pretty tired, which I hadn't really been feeling that. So I was like, okay, this is weird. I'm going to sit down on the couch for a while. And I just sat there until Jeff gets home and he brings home groceries. And he's a little bit stressed out, and I'm like, hey, why don't you go play some video games? I'll get started on dinner. Like, we had plans to cook together that night, and I'm like, you go play some video games, I'll get the prep work done, and then I'll call you in when it's ready to like cook. I got up and I went into the kitchen and I started cooking, and I was listening to a spicy audiobook. Things were getting good. Uh, like I had this moment where I could feel myself gradually getting worn down, but I just thought, oh, okay, maybe I've just overdone it a little bit today and I'm just tired. Like, this won't be much. I'm just standing at the counter chopping things. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So I went over to the trash can to throw something away, and I had this overwhelming like voice in my head saying, sit down now. And when that voice comes around, you do not question it. You're not like, why, bitch? And so I sat down. And that's really kind of all I remember. I think I remember yelling for Jeff. I don't remember what I said. But then I don't really remember anything until he was picking me up, like dragging me to get me into my rollator so that he could roll me over to the couch. And like I started coming back, like my consciousness was coming back, and I was like, okay, I can think clearly. I can hear every question he's asking me. I know exactly what I need to tell him, but I couldn't talk. I was not able to open my mouth. I was so weak. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't feel my legs. I was just so tired. He got me on the couch, and after a while of me sitting on the couch, and he got me some water, and I drank some water, and after a little bit of resting, I was finally able to open my mouth and communicate with him that I'm here. Like, I hear everything that he's saying. And he was asking me a lot of questions, and like, did I hit my head and stuff like that. And I tried to explain, like, I sat down, but I was still so weak that I couldn't really like communicate in full sentences yet. But as the evening went on and I rested more, I got a little bit stronger, and then I was able to communicate with him a little bit more. So that was really scary. I want to say it was my first time ever passing out, but I did kind of have an incident when I was walking Mr. Bones with Jeff at the beginning of all of this. I think it was like back in September of last year. So, which was very similar, but I don't think I ever lost consciousness then. It was pretty freaking scary, to be honest. Terrifying, because people don't just pass out for no reason. Like, you don't just lose consciousness for funsies. That weekend went on. We didn't do anything about it. We didn't know what to do. It was a Friday night, and we're like, all right, we can message the doctors. They're not going to get anything until Monday. So I guess maybe we just see how this plays out for the weekend. Like, I'm okay, right? Well, wrong. I was not okay. The whole weekend I was this is really hard to talk about. And this is also why I haven't updated anybody for a long time. So I might just be, I might change to just giving some briefer snippets. This is a lot. This is a lot. So maybe this video isn't going to be as long as I thought it would be. Also, I set a timer for myself and I never started it. Timer has started now. I was really weak all weekend. Weak on the weekend. Oh, that's a joke that works way better on paper. So good thing this is a video. Weekend. Humor helps me cope. I said humor helps me cope. So by the end of that weekend, Monday comes around. I don't remember why Jeff was home. Maybe he took off the day. Can't remember. I don't remember much from that day, to be honest with you. I believe I was conscious, but I could not communicate and I could not move my legs. And it came to the point where, like, yes, we had messaged the doctors and let them know. They were like, oh yeah, we definitely should see you sooner than what we already have you on the books for, so we'll put you on a cancellation list, but at this moment you have the next available appointment. I don't remember how the decision to take me to the hospital was made. I wasn't really a part of that decision because I wasn't really present enough to be a part of that decision, which is fine. I'm not like saying that it was the wrong decision. If I saw Jeff in the state that I was in, I would definitely have taken him to the hospital. So at the hospital, quick snippets. A new MRI scan of my entire body was performed. I'm not going to talk about it because it was pretty fucking traumatic. No new lesions were found. That's the important part of that. So that happened. Don't remember too much. Saw a lot of doctors. And in the end, they said they determined that this was a stress and dehydration induced incident. Now, when they said that, Jeff and I were both kind of like, bullshit. I hadn't been feeling stressed. Like, I really thought I was doing well. Like, I was excited. I was feeling good. And yeah, I thought for sure I was going to be fine. Also, dehydration, like, I drink a shit ton of water. This video is not sponsored by Casey's General Store, but if they would like to, I drink so many of those cups a day, especially when I'm at home. I am always thirsty and I like water. So I don't know that I believe that. But I will say that as time went on, like my time in the hospital, like in the moments that I was feeling like particularly stressed, because like, I mean, at that point, yeah, I'm in the hospital. Of course I'm stressed out. Like, I don't really remember too much. I don't know why my body is like not working. Like, I literally couldn't move my left leg. I could barely move my right leg. I was a fall risk. I got a really pretty bracelet. Loved it. Oh, I think I took a picture. Fall risk. Yeah. Unfortunately, when you are at a fall risk, they want you to use a bedside commode, and your girl ain't about that life. So I was like, no, I'm good. No, I can go to the bathroom. No. And they're like, yeah, but I would really rather you use the bedside commode. I'm like, no, it's not happening. Like, it's not happening. If you want me to shit, like, I know you want me to shit because you ask every single time you see me if I've had a bowel movement. You don't want me to use the bedside commode because that's never going to happen. Shy colon, baby, not coming out on the bedside commode. Anyway, that might be TMI, but welcome to hell. As I was noticing in the moments of like like I would have these like bouts of stress, right? Like these moments where I would allow myself to feel that darkness, that stress, and in those moments, that's when I would get my weakest, and I would start to feel so tired, and I couldn't talk as well. I couldn't move as much. And I think that kind of made me realize, like, okay, so like maybe I am stressed. The way that Jeff was asking questions to the doctors and nurses was more so like, do you guys have a different definition for stress than what we do? And like, yes, of course they do. Like, there are different stress hormones in the body, or maybe there's just one stress hormone in the body. I don't know. There's stress hormones in the get dang body. And I don't think that those manifest in ways that we mentally understand. Like, stress is an emotion, but it is also like a thing that happens inside of you. That's my best way of describing it. I am not a professional. Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty stressed. I was getting physical therapy every day. Like after a couple of days in the hospital, I was finally able to move and like getting some physical therapy. I was finally able to move my left leg on my own, although it was very, very difficult. I was also kind of dragging it a lot more because I like wiggling my toes was really difficult, and like that's incredibly important for balance. I also got acupuncture while I was in the hospital, which was a very interesting experience, and I would say that I would do it again. And I never thought that I would be okay with acupuncture because I'm not okay with needles, but in desperate times, I think you'll do just about anything you need to do. Yeah, I wasn't getting around well, and per recommendation of the doctor and the physical therapist, they wanted to send me to a rehab facility. And this was kind of before they told me that it was like for sure like stress and dehydration. I think, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. But after having a session of occupational therapy and talking to her about, like, for those of you who don't know what occupational therapy is versus physical therapy. So physical therapy, they more so work on like your strength, like your physical strength, like strengthening your body, whatever limbs aren't working well, like they focus on getting those things to work again. And especially when there's like nerve damage and stuff like that, and you're having problems like feeling those and moving those things, like it's really important to try every single time. Like if I can't wiggle my toes, I have to focus on trying to wiggle my toes because it'll help rewire the neural pathways to my toes so that I can eventually be able to move them. That was helping a lot. So occupational therapy is more so like taking care of yourself. Their goal isn't to strengthen you like physical therapy, it's to teach you the safest way for you to do things on your own so that you don't need outside help. So it's a lot of like brushing your teeth and going to the bathroom and, you know, stuff like that, everyday stuff like self-care. When she came in and was going through our first session of occupational therapy, you know, we just kind of talked about everything. And she was like, well, so why is it like, did they give you a reason as to why this is going on? And I said, well, they think this is a stress induced situation. She's like, how have you been sleeping? Which I hadn't been sleeping like since this incident started. My sleep was like very little. I was maybe getting a couple of hours of sleep a night. I just couldn't sleep. Wasn't happening. Spoiler alert, still can't. After talking to her about it, she was like, you know, I think that you should maybe talk to the doctor again about this because I'm not sure that going to a rehab facility is going to be the best thing for you. She said, you know, prior to this incident, how did you feel after physical therapy? And I said, well, you know, I did outpatient physical therapy, and on days that I would do physical therapy, I would be super tired that day, like super worn down. And then sometimes even the next day, I would be so tired that I just was worthless. And she's like, so the thing about rehab facilities is it's like pretty intense physical therapy. It's like 3 sessions of physical therapy a day. And like that seems pretty intense for somebody who was already struggling with 1 session of physical therapy a day and also isn't sleeping. And I'm like, you know, that's a really good point. So I talked to the doctor about it. And after talking with him about it, he was like, you know, I think you're right. I think a rehab facility like might be good for you, but it could actually be worse for you. And if you're willing to do like home health therapy, I can set that up for you and we can get you home and then maybe you can get better sleep. And be a little bit less stressed. Because, like, the thing about a rehab facility is, like, a rehab facility is a hospital. Like, you're in a hospital bed in a hospital room, and nobody sleeps good in a hospital. Like, that's just matter of fact, you don't. Like, they gave me melatonin and shit to help me sleep, and I was still not sleeping good. So, yeah, I opted to go home. So, home I went, and home I have been since. I had some home health therapy, physical therapy, and occupational therapy came out to the house, which was great that occupational therapy came out because they really helped me make some adjustments at home, buy some different things to help out. Like in the kitchen, I got like a little short desk area. I can put my little rollator up to and sit down in so that I can help with food prep and cooking, be able to do that without overexerting myself by standing up for too long. And my physical therapy like helped so much. I am now able to move my legs again, as I talked about in my brief health update. Wait, is that what I called it? Yeah, I'm sorry. My brief health summary. After getting home, it's been difficult though. We've had lots of guests to help, which has been fantastic. Like, honestly, I needed them. Jeff's mom came out for a week, and then Jeff's brother came out for a week as well. And then my friend Sarah came out for a week and helped me out. I needed him. But what I also need is my space, because I don't think I'm going to get better until I'm able to mentally get better. And that's what therapy is going to be for. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, mental therapy. I think the update that you've all been really kind of waiting for was the neurologist appointment update, which actually happened before this incident happened. And now it's also happened after this incident has happened. So I've seen my neurologist twice now, the MS specialist. Based on my scans and the amount of lesions that I have, and the fact that I have no new lesions, I believe there are 3 present. I might be wrong about that. There's a few. With those lesions being present, he finds it suspicious of MS, but still wanting to call it partial myelitis. So there's a few things to note about that. Suspicious of MS means basically he believes I have partial myelitis, but because of the amount of lesions that I got with partial myelitis, I am at a little bit higher of a risk of developing into MS. There was a drug that he gave us the option of me being on it. It included like daily injections, and we did some research on it, and it's older, it's not very effective. It doesn't have a lot of side effects though. It's not an immunosuppressant, so he felt like that was safe. But I just don't I didn't it didn't feel right to me, so I didn't want to go on that. And since this incident and since talking to him some more, we asked, like, is there another DMT that we could go on, which is a disease modifying treatment. And there are so many new ones out there, so many that are super effective. And basically, what it boils down to is yes, he will sign off on me going on a DMT if that's what I want to do. The thing about that though is once you go on them, like it's a pretty much a forever thing. You just kind of do that for the rest of your life, and uh, you might get more lesions, you might not. They're pretty good at suppressing new flare-ups with MS. So from my understanding is like they help prevent new lesions from coming. It doesn't do anything to help with your symptoms and your current lesions or anything like that. It just helps prevent. We do have that option. This is probably going to piss some people off, but I'm not doing it. And I have reasons. And those reasons don't really matter because at the end of the day, it is my decision. But I'm going to share with you what those reasons are. Haha, gotcha. I made you think that I wasn't going to tell you. So I want to be clear, though, in telling these reasons. Like, this isn't a discussion. This isn't a, oh, hey, let's talk about this. Maybe you can convince me to go on one. No, you're not going to. This is my choice. And I can assure you, I have thought about it more than all of you have combined. So the reasons that I'm not going on a disease modifying treatment at this time is because I don't have a diagnosis. Like, I don't have a specific diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. My diagnosis is partial myelitis. And yes, it is suspicious of MS, but that does not mean that on my chart he wrote MS. There's just a lot unknown with MS. There's a lot. It's so hard to get that diagnosis because there has to be so many different factors and you have to rule out so many other things. And he doesn't want to like jump into saying, oh yeah, it's definitely MS, which I respect that, but it can be a little bit looming, you know? So without having that diagnosis and without having his sign off, I cannot get on disability. Now, just to be clear, I haven't worked in 6 months. I was once self-employed and I am now unemployed because one, I can't work. My job was very physical. I was a dog groomer. Like, I can barely groom myself. I can't groom a dog. Two, I lost all my clients. So even if I could groom a dog again, I would be starting from the ground up all over again. And I do not have the physical or mental energy for that at this time. He won't sign off on disability because he's not sure that it is MS, and he can't say definitively that I will be out of work for 12 months, which is the requirement for me to qualify for disability as a self-employed person. So I've looked into it. It's not happening. And frankly, like, I want a proper diagnosis. So going on a disease modifying treatment could potentially prolong that diagnosis for years. And again, it doesn't treat my current symptoms. Like, anything that I'm experiencing right now won't get better by taking one of these treatments. Like, it's not going to help me in the moment. It's just going to help prevent further damage, which, yeah, that sounds great. But I want to do things properly. And both decisions suck, you know, like not going on a DMT means that I am kind of unguarded from more brain damage, more damage on my spinal cord, which sucks. Like, that's scary, but there's also a chance that I might not ever get any more damage without a DMT. And frankly, they have a lot more side effects than the other drug that he said that initially. If I had any other reasons, which I'm sure that I did, I can't remember right now. So that's all I'm going to say about it. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going on it at the moment. Right now, I am kind of in the waiting game, right? So the plan is to continue monitoring me. I see MRIs in my future. Ooh. Lots of MRIs, lots of doctor follow-up visits, and at the first sign of a new lesion, we'll be going on a treatment. But until then, I will just keep fighting. I will keep getting stronger, as strong as I can, and we'll see what happens with that. I think that's all that I have to say about what's been going on. I haven't got into too much details with you guys about how much of a struggle it's been for the past 5 weeks, because it's been 5 weeks since I got out of the hospital, which is insane. Because I don't remember a lot, and like there's like some real gaps in time, and that's scary. What you need to know is that I was in bad shape. I was not doing well, but I'm doing better. Now, on to the next chapter. The next chapter of today's video is a chapter that hasn't been done for a few videos, if I'm remembering correctly. And that's Feelings Corner. But I've decided, screw Feelings Corner. I'm gonna go with my initial feelings, and I'm just gonna call it the Raw Doggin Emotions section. Let's raw dog those emotions, because I have some grievances and I need to bitch them out. On today's docket of Raw Doggin Emotions, I've got 3 topics. Let's start with topic number 1. So at the beginning of this video, I talked a little bit about boundaries and my problem with setting boundaries and keeping those boundaries in place. And I've thought about it a lot lately, because ever since I went to the hospital, I've been trying to set more boundaries. Talking about my health has not been on my radar. I have been having a difficult time talking about it because it causes me stress. So I've been trying to set those boundaries, and frankly, people have been ignoring that. I'm going to say it right now. You either respect my boundaries or understand that you will be ghosted. For those of you who don't know what ghosted is, you will be ignored. I will not dignify you with a response whatsoever. If I say I do not want to talk about my health, that means I do not want to talk about my health. That doesn't mean I want to hear you talk about my health. That means that it is off limits. That means that if you have your opinions about what I'm going through, you either keep them to yourself or you go talk to somebody else about it. That is not my fucking problem. Oof. I am angrier about that than I realized. But seriously. Bottom line, like, I am not good at setting and keeping boundaries, but I am going to be getting better at that. So from yesterday on, if you say anything, I'm done. And I've already done this to a few people. I just haven't responded. But some of them I've even responded, I don't want to talk about my health. I will be making a hell update, and I'll let you know when that video is posted. But now, at this point, if anybody says anything, I will just be sharing the link. Or again, like, talk to somebody else about it, like, I understand that this is difficult for people who care about me, people who love me and care about me. I get that it's difficult, but what's even more difficult is being me and dealing with the emotions of it all on top of the actual physicality of it all. Like, I've got a lot going on, man. Like, and if you're not respecting my boundaries, you are not a part of my healing journey. So get the fuck out. Like, stop, talk to somebody else about it. Like, form a support group, man. Like, do whatever you gotta do, but don't come to me if I'm telling you I don't want to talk about it. I think that's all I have to say about that. I feel like that's to the point. Boundary set. The emotion next to be raw dogged is if you have a problem with the way that my doctors are handling my health, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I say shut the fuck up. Because that is talking to me about my health. This is not to say that you guys can't ask questions about my health in the comments and stuff like that. Of course you can. That is no problem. But if you are directly like texting me or asking me in person or on the phone and I say I don't want to talk about this, then don't. Like, leave a comment and I will get to it as soon as I feel like I can mentally get to it. So this isn't like me saying like you can't have an opinion about things. I just don't always want to hear your opinion, especially when it comes to my doctors. Like, if you have a problem with doctors in general, I get it. Guess who does too? Me. If you don't agree with the way my doctors have been handling the situation, guess what? You don't know all the information. You haven't been to all of my doctor's appointments. You weren't there. You didn't hear everything that they said. Also, if you're frustrated because doctors have misdiagnosed me since 2018, yes, you're right. That doesn't deserve quotations. Yes, they have misdiagnosed me. But guess what? I'm not seeing those doctors anymore. Those aren't the doctors that I have today. So your anger is misplaced, and it is directly affecting how I am handling everything, because I already have trust issues with doctors. And if I have to listen to every single person tell me how much they don't trust my doctors, do you know what that makes me want to do? Never go to a doctor again. And you know how you don't advocate for your own health? By never going to a doctor again. Yes, there's a lot of shitty doctors out there. Yes, there's a lot of like bad advice out there. But at the same time, it is either I go and I try to get care, or I stay at home and I just try to die. So what do you want me to do? Would you rather me do that? No, you wouldn't. And don't be coming at me. Oh, don't start, Erin. Don't start. No, that's grievance number 3. That is emotion number 3 to be raw dogged. You are on emotion number 2. Don't tell me about it. Don't tell me about it. Vent to each other. Get your little support group together and bitch to each other about my doctors that you've never met and you don't know. Do you see that? That's annoyance in my eyes. Because again, you haven't been here. You haven't been to every doctor's appointment. You haven't heard what every single one of them said. You haven't asked the questions that I have been asking. I can assure you, Jeff and I have been asking a lot of freaking questions, okay? And if you're wanting me to get a second opinion, respect. I get that. I think that second opinions are incredibly valuable. But as I mentioned before, mentally, I'm not okay. And what's not going to make me even more not okay, or what is going to make me not even more not okay, what's gonna fuck me up worse is starting over. I can't start over. I have been to so many freaking doctors. Like, my life has become doctor's appointments, and I'm done. I'm so over it. I am exhausted. I am looking forward to this waiting period where I just wait to get a new MRI in 6 months, and then we'll get the results, and then we'll wait another 6 months and do another MRI and get those results. That sounds like bliss to me, as long as I can keep myself out of the get dang hospital. Anyway, let's move on to emotion number 3. This is the third and final raw dogging of the day. If you have a strict nutrition plan that you want to recommend to me, don't. Simple as that. That was keep your fucking mouth shut, if you couldn't tell. I don't want to hear about it. Again, you're not a doctor. You're not a nutritionist. Also, you haven't been here. You haven't been to every doctor's appointment that I've been to. Just to be clear, this all started with me being malnourished. I was lacking a shit ton of vitamins, and I was eating very healthy since 2018. And I believe I have covered this in another video. Since 2018, I have changed my diet. I have cut out inflammatory foods and, well, for the most part, and I have added a lot of anti-inflammatory foods and stuff. I eat pretty dang freaking healthy. If I didn't, I would have gained like 50 or so pounds since all of this has happened, because I can't exercise. But all that's happening is that I'm losing muscle mass and I'm not really gaining any weight, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. But also because I don't eat unhealthy. Yes, I am from the Midwest. No, I do not eat like I'm from the Midwest. I do love those comfort foods, but we don't make them very often because we have been very conscious about what we are putting in our bodies ever since I started getting sick, because I know that nutrition is an important factor. Now, that being said, none of my doctors have recommended that I go on any sort of diet plan. In fact, they have all recommended to me that I make sure that I am eating. Eat healthy. Nutrition is very important for you right now because you need those nutrients. And if you want me to give you a list of my diet plan of every single thing that I eat, first of all, fuck off. No, I'm not gonna do that. Second off, like, mind your own business and focus on your own dang diet, because I can guarantee you that if you're recommending that to me, you're not a nutritionist. I don't know any nutritionists. I don't know any of them. Like, so if you're coming up to me and you're trying to tell me what I need to be eating, you're out of your damn mind. Tell yourself what to eat. Don't tell me what to eat. Like, I am so sick of people recommending diet plans to me. Like, oh, people who have MS have had these pretty big success stories with this. Okay, so tell me, those people who have had these pretty big success stories with changing their diet and having MS, are they on a DMT? Oh, you can't answer that? Oh, do you know what other, if they've been on any other treatments or have been taking any other drugs? Oh, you can't answer that? Then maybe you should shut up and not talk about things that you don't know about. Also, all of these success stories mean nothing to me because there is a very large population of people who have MS. And the thing about MS is that it's different in every single person. It affects everybody differently. Sure, there are some things that overlap, of course. A lot of symptoms overlap, but it is all so different, which is what makes it a really difficult diagnosis to treat, because it is kind of, there's so many questions about it, you know? And like, yeah, sure, there are some success plans, but just like somebody who has partial myelitis, you may or may not go on to have more lesions. And like in patients with MS, if it's not the super aggressive type, you can go years without having new lesions, regardless of what the fuck you're eating, regardless of whether or not you're on a treatment plan. So saying that these are success stories, to me, That's not fucking scientific. Like, that's a guess. That's your I don't know science well enough. Hypothesis? Or is that the end result? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I wish I was. You're just guessing. You're just guessing. And I know that you're just trying to help. You're worried and whatever, but I don't know how many times I have to tell you to stop before you stop. And if I have to get angry at you about it for you to fucking listen, then here it is. Emotions raw dogged. Do not be offended by anything that I have said here. Or do. I don't give a shit, honestly. I'm done. I don't care anymore. Like, I have been trying to set boundaries with people, and people aren't respecting these boundaries. And I have to advocate for myself. And you know what? When I start therapy next week and I talk to her about all of this, she's probably going to say, you know what? Maybe that wasn't the healthiest way. And I'm going to say, you know what? I'm only human, and humans must raw dog their emotions. That's how I'm going to end it. Maybe I should raw dog emotions at the beginning of videos. I don't like to go out on a negative note. So let me tell you a joke. I don't know any jokes. Let me tell you a funny story, okay? Funny story. Here we go. I'll tell this story because I'm pretty sure my husband doesn't listen to this. A little bit of information. Jeff and I don't fart in front of each other. And if you have listened to my past podcasts, you probably already know that. Or if you're my friend, you know that. The other night, I wasn't sleeping well because I never sleep well anymore. As I'm laying there, I'm partially awake, and I hear this, and I was like, oh no, Mr. Bones, because he had just had his teeth cleaned the other day and he had to have a tooth pulled. And I thought, oh, okay, he's in pain. But so I woke up and I was like, what's wrong? Are you okay, Bobby? Are you okay? And Jeff goes, what's happening? And I said, oh, I heard him make a really loud noise. Did you hear that? And he's like, no, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I hope he's okay. I don't know. I don't know. I'm checking on him and he's wagging his tail. He's happy. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And the more I thought about it, the more I questioned. Was that a Mr. Bones grunt? Or was that a sleeping Jeff fart? And I'll leave you at that. That's the question that we're all going to be asking from here on out. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to me. And thank you for subscribing and liking, because I'm sure you've already done that since we talked about it in the beginning. This has been Hell with Erin, and that's just hell with one L because it could always be worse. And that's how acronyms work. Until the next update. Peace out.